People always talk about that feeling when someone's watching you, like a sixth sense. But no one ever warns you what it feels like when you're being listened to. When something in your house is hearing every word you say, cataloging your habits, and waiting for the one night you say the wrong thing. I was house-sitting for a friend in rural Maine. A single mom named Jen. Her son was 10. Sweet kid. They lived in a farmhouse built in the 1800s, surrounded by forest. She and I used to work at the same publishing house before she moved upstate. When she had to travel to Boston for her father's surgery, she asked if I could stay at her place for a week. Free rent, quiet, Wi-Fi. I needed the escape. First few nights were uneventful. Cozy, even. The house had this old radio mounted into the wall of the living room. Big, vintage dial. Still worked. Played only one station. Some weird local broadcast that sounded like it was coming from a basement with bad signal. Static heavy. Voices like they were half asleep. Nothing but ambient music and strange old commercials. I didn't think much of it until the fourth night. That night, around 1 a.m., I heard voices coming from the radio. Whispers. Not music. Not commercials. It wasn't turned on. I checked. The dial was off. But I could still hear it. Clear as anything. A man's voice. Don't answer the knock. That's all he said. Then static. I laughed nervously. Thought maybe I was hearing things. Leftover dreams. But exactly 4 minutes later, I heard a knock. Not the door. The window. 3 knocks. Deliberate. Slow. I stayed frozen on the couch. My skin went cold. I peeked through the blinds. Nothing. Just dark woods and mist. I turned on all the lights, grabbed a kitchen knife, and waited till sunrise. In the morning, there were fingerprints on the outside of the window. Child-sized. Jen doesn't have any neighbors for miles. I called her, asked her if the radio ever acted weird. She got real quiet and said, "You heard it too?" I asked her what she meant. She said her son started talking about the man in the radio a few months ago. Said he would whisper things to him at night. Creepy stuff. Telling him not to trust his mom, not to go near the woods, not to look under his bed. She thought he was just having nightmares. But then he started drawing things. Sketches of the house. Only with someone standing in every window. Same man. No eyes. Long hands. Bent posture. Then she found him sleepwalking. One night, he'd unlocked the front door and walked barefoot into the woods. Said he was going to meet the voice. That was when she decided to leave for a while, to see if distance would help. It didn't. That night, I unplugged the radio completely. At 1 a.m., it turned on by itself. No static this time, just clear whispering. If you unplug me again, you'll hear the knock twice. My body locked. I didn't move. At 1:04 a.m., 2 knocks at the back door. I screamed, called the cops. They came, checked everything. No signs of forced entry. Nothing on the cameras. No prints this time. But the officer, before he left, asked me something strange. He said, "Has the kid told you about the mirror yet?" "What mirror?" I asked. He pointed to the wall across from the radio. "Exactly. There used to be one there. A big one. We found it shattered in the woods when they reported the kids sleepwalking. Don't know how he carried it that far." I didn't sleep again. When Jen returned, she looked exhausted, like the house had been draining her even from hundreds of miles away. I handed her the keys and told her I'd never come back. But last week, months after it happened, I got a package. No return address, no note, just a recording, a cassette tape. On it, the sound of knocking and a voice whispering my name. There's something about hotels that makes people behave like ghosts. You walk past strangers in long hallways, silent, avoiding eye contact. You pretend you don't hear the arguing through the walls. You accept that things creak, sigh, move. That not everything has an explanation. But what if the hotel remembers you after you leave? What if it follows you home? This happened 3 years ago. But I still wake up some nights with the taste of chlorine and blood in my mouth. I was traveling for work, just a dull conference in upstate New York. I booked the cheapest hotel I could find with decent reviews. Nothing fancy, just a faded chain hotel off the interstate called the Briar Glen Inn. For stories, pull, free coffee. You know the kind. But from the second I walked in, it felt off. The man at the front desk wouldn't make eye contact. He slid my keycard over the counter without saying a word. Room 319. The carpet in the hallway was wet. Not soaked, but damp. Spongy under my shoes. No explanation. When I got to my room, the door was already cracked open. Now, most people would have asked for a different room. But I was tired. I pushed it open, called out a half-hearted hello, and stepped inside. Empty. The lights were off. Curtains drawn. But the TV was on, just static. The moment I crossed the threshold, the screen went black. Remote nowhere in sight. I stood there, holding my breath, until I convinced myself it was just bad wiring. Dropped my bags. Went to the bathroom. That's when I noticed the mirror was fogged up, like someone had just taken a shower. Only the towels were bone dry. I left the light on that night. The weird thing is, I woke up wet, clothes damp, hair matted, like I'd been swimming in my sleep. But the bed was dry, and on the pillow beside me was a wet footprint. Small, bare, not mine. I packed up to leave right then. But when I opened the door, I wasn't in the same hallway. I swear to God, it was different, longer, narrower. The wallpaper was peeling, lights flickering, no sound, no staff, just this awful humming in the walls. I turned back. Room 319 was gone. In its place was a door with no number, just scratched paint and a faint smell of mold. I ran. Downstairs, through the stairwell, into the lobby. But it wasn't the lobby anymore. It was the pool, drained, filthy, and in the center was a bed. My bed, from the room, soaking wet, and someone was lying on it. I couldn't see the face, just wet hair, long black, dripping, a slow breath from the body, like it had just surfaced from deep, black water. And then she moved. Her head turned toward me, eyes bloated and white, mouth full of water. And she smiled. I blinked. And suddenly I was in the hallway again. Normal, bright. Room 319 behind me, closed. My bag was still on my shoulder. I didn't ask questions. I left. Didn't even check out. But here's the part that won't let me sleep. A week later, I found a photo on my phone. It wasn't one I took. It was a blurry shot of me, asleep in bed, in a room I didn't recognize. Water stains on the ceiling, and in the corner of the photo, barely visible in the darkness, a woman standing, hair soaked, mouth open, eyes watching. I deleted it, but I know it's not gone, because sometimes I still feel water dripping from my ears when I wake up. And once, just once, I saw a second pillow beside me was wet, and someone had left a message written in fog on the window. Room 319 misses you. People always ask what it's like to live alone. They think it must be peaceful, quiet, but real quiet. The kind you sit in long enough, it starts to rot. You start noticing things. How your steps echo, how the fridge clicks at 2 a.m., how your reflection sometimes takes a heartbeat too long to follow you. I moved into my new apartment after a bad breakup. Top floor, end of the hall, old building in the city. The kind of place with warped floors and pipes that moan like they're in pain. But it was cheap, and it was mine. The first time I noticed something wrong, it was subtle. I was brushing my teeth, and the hallway light flicked off. I assumed the bulb blew, until it flicked back on, flickered twice, off again. I live alone. No pets, no smart tech. The next morning, I checked the breaker. Everything normal, no surge. But later that day, while I was working from home, I heard the hallway light switch click again. This time, I saw it. The switch moved, clicked down, like someone had done it. Only there was no one there. I tried to laugh it off, told myself I needed sleep. But the thing is, the lights weren't the only thing that started acting strange. I began finding my front door unlocked in the morning. Not wide open, just unlatched. A quiet invitation. Then, objects moved. Small things at first. My toothbrush facing the wrong way. The remote placed upside down. Then my laptop was left open mid-sentence with a document titled, "You're Not Alone, Docs." I never wrote it. It was blank. No matter how many times I deleted it, it came back, blank, but always titled the same. One night, I decided to stay up, sit in the dark. Wait, at 2:11 a.m., I heard the kitchen faucet turn on. Full pressure. I crept out of bed and peeked around the corner. The faucet was running. No one there, but written on the fogged-up microwave door, clear as anything, "I've always been here." I ran to the front door. Lock, deadbolt still in place. But I swear to God, I heard something breathing on the other side. The next day, I installed cameras, motion sensors, smart locks. I watched the footage from the night before. Nothing until exactly 2:11 a.m. Then static, just for 10 seconds. Then footage resumed. Only I wasn't in bed anymore. I was standing in the kitchen, staring into the camera, mouth open, eyes unfocused, and something was behind me. A figure, tall, faceless, as if someone had smeared human features across wet paper. It stood there, watching me watch myself. Then the screen glitched, and I was back in bed. I don't remember getting up, but now it happens every night. The same minute, same footage, same static, always followed by a new document on my laptop titled, "You're Not Alone," still blank. But last night, there was something different. The document had one sentence. "Let me in." I never typed it. I shut my laptop, locked every door, every window. I left the lights on and stayed up until dawn. But just now, just before I started telling the story, I noticed something. The documents open again. The words are changing. "You told them." Now I have to show them. And I swear, this part's not in my head. Just now, as I looked up at my hallway, the light flicked off, and my reflection from the black TV screen in the corner, it's not sitting down anymore. It's standing behind me,